Yes, what's up, Base Boxing Basement? The Triple B right here for the fans like Ricky Hatton. Remember to like. It costs nothing, not a thing. Yeah? And it keeps those disgusting, jealous, greasy, big nose haters away, right? Anyway, so boxing's a bit dry at the moment, but they've just announced on the 22nd of November, 2025, which is like, how many months away is that? I don't know, but it's a lot. 5, I don't know. There's not much going on till this year seems to be a bit dry. But so there's this bill, right? There's this bill, and it's got David Benavidez and Anthony Yarde, who will inevitably get beaten up. And everyone got how brave Yarde was, and he was in the match, just like they said about Beterbiev when he wasn't ever in the match. He might have won 2 rounds. And I remember watching it live thinking, don't get excited, Yard. You're going to get ironed out. Even Kovalev, the punch-drunk alcoholic, old Kovalev, not the young one, ironed him out. Well, the Yard did almost stop him, but he's lost on points at Lyndon Artis. So, but anyway, it's not about Benavidez Yard. They put on the same bill. They put Subriel Matias, vs Dalton Smith. Now, I'm quite surprised by that. Dalton Smith apparently sells a few tickets. He's been very pushed as a Britain's world champion in the waiting, the next Ricky Hatton type thing. The ticket seller, the crowds love him. And every time I watch him, I'm thinking, you're just not that special, blood. Anyway, on the bill, it's a good bill. It's in Riyadh again. There's also Abdullah Mason v Sam Noakes again. I don't know what's happening there, man. All the British guys seem to be getting sacrificed. As for the WBO World Lightweight Championship, I expect Noakes to get battered by Mason. Bam Rodriguez v someone called Fernando Daniel Martinez, who's unbeaten. But, I don't follow the lower weights unless they're really good. So I know who Bam is, but, come on, man. I don't know who Fernando Martinez is, but he's unbeaten. So that's got to be pretty cool. Brian Norman Jr. vs Devin Ganey, hopefully. 2 unbeatens. Well, we know Devin Ganey took a beatdown from Ryan Garcia, but he managed to get it, reversed. For the World Welterweight Championship, hopefully Norman will get rid of that enormous nose Brian Haney. When I say enormous nose, I don't mean it's pointy and long. I mean it's wide and thick. It's like some kind of ancient hominid. He's a very ugly guy. And, of course, Benavidez Yarde. So, that's a pretty good bill, man. You got the WBC World Light Heavyweight, the WBO World Welter, the WBO World Light, and WBC and WBO World Super Flyweight. And now they put on Subriel Matias vs Dalton Smith, right? For the WBC Junior Welterweight title. And so this is pretty bad. That's only 5 fights, right? But those are 5 fights for world titles, man. So that I'm cool with. What I'm not cool with is when they put on, one world fight, or even not even a world fight, like Moses Hitalma vs Dillian White, and then 4 undercard whack fights. At least these are all heavyweight, world championship fights. I'm not going to say it reminds me of the old Don King days. I used to be able to put together those big bills because, by the way, his secret society, it's open. Just go and search for it. Don King, Mason, and see what you find. He was inducted years ago, I think 1987, but he used to work for gangsters. Him and, who's that gangster guy? Anyway, there was some mafiosi guy, right, who's turned Christian now. And he has, they had talks about fixing fights and this kind of stuff and getting in on the action. Getting in on the action. Not the kind of action that Otto Wallin likes to watch, but So, it's a good bill. And they've added Matias vs Dalton Smith. Now, Matias, yeah, he's not super. He's not super. You know, we're talking about a guy who has, I think he's got 2 losses. Let me check out his record. He lost to Liam Parrow, an Australian, on his home turf, which was a great performance by Liam Parrow, but he consequently lost it. The title, he consequently in his first defence, I believe. Can't remember who with. I can't remember everything. I can't be expected to, especially not with the lower weight guys. You know. So he beat Matias, and Matias had from Puerto Rico. He's another guy, black guy, who dyes his hair blonde. Instead of Abraham Nova, who dyes his beard blonde, he dyes his head blonde to try and look, you know, different, stand out. You know. So he's got 2 losses against a guy called Petros Ananyan, who I've forgotten about this loss. Some Russian dude, originally from Armenia, beat him on points. I'd forgotten about that. I thought he'd been unbeaten, but that was a points loss. And then he lost to Liam Parrow in a big upset at the time. I think I won money on Parrow. And he come back to win the title. He come back to win the title against a guy called Alberto Puello, I suppose it's pronounced, Puello. And he won on split decision. Okay, so I mean, he's no superstar. He never will be. But he's got 23 wins and 22 KOs. You know what I'm talking about? That's a big KO ratio. And both his losses are on points. And he's fighting Dalton Smith. Now, every time I see Dalton Smith, I'm like, I don't really get what they see in him. He got a good record, unbeaten, 8 wins, 13 KOs, but who's he beating? Who's near world class? Let's have a look. Samo Maison, well, obviously not. Sam Maxwell, obviously not. Jose Cepeda, obviously not. Walid Ouiza, who he knocked out in 1 round, obviously not. Well, no, I haven't heard of any of these bums. Mathieu Germain, yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm assuming he's French or something. No, he's Canadian-French. Mathieu Germain. I remember watching that fight, and I just saw it went the distance. And Germain was like, okay. Actually, he wasn't too bad. His skill-wise, he's not a puncher. And he'd been stopped twice. Dalton Smith couldn't stop him, though. Dalton Smith couldn't stop him. And, he's not world class. He's borderline. And he was like 35 or 34 at the time. I don't understand. All of a sudden, right, because of the Saudi money, because this is a Riyadh season thing, all these promoters are getting brave with their prospects. Back in the day, I think he's with Eddie Hearn, isn't he? Is he with Eddie Hearn? Dalton Smith. But back in the day, well, it's either going to be him or it's going to be Fish Eyes. I can't remember which one. But back in the day, they used to protect their prospects a lot more. Even Ricky Hatton, when he was winning the so-called world title, which was just a WBU title, they really protected him until it cost his you. But now they're throwing these guys in. So that's 3 Brits on 1 card being thrown in for the world title. And I was just not impressed by Dalton Smith. When I watched him last time against Mathieu Germain, I was thinking, you know what, Adam Azim, who I don't particularly like, but he's one of the few guys that Shalom still has. Ben Shalom, but he'll be going soon. I thought Azim should win that fight. I don't know why he refuses to take it. Maybe the money's not there, but the money will be here. Because the Saudis have those big pockets. And to be fair, Smith did put Germain down like 3 times, but still, I remember Jermaine looking, for a guy that had been chinned twice, he gave him a bit of trouble. And I was like, I don't see it yet with this guy, Dalton Smith. And now they're going to put him in against one of the most ferocious punchers, statistically anyway. So he must be getting paid well. I mean, I don't think Matias is that great, but he can certainly punch. He's 33. He's 33. Dalton Smith is 28. Maybe they're just like thinking, well, look, if the money's right, we'll throw them in. But I can't see a single one of these British guys winning. I see Anthony Yarde getting beaten up. Yeah, and the headline being how brave he was and what a good fight he put up. But he'll get knocked out by Benavidez. Dalton Smith, Matias. I'd like Dalton Smith to win. Popular British fighters are always good for the game. He's from Sheffield. But, I'm thinking, you haven't beaten anyone and you haven't beaten anyone of any great world quality. Of any world quality, excuse me. And, I just don't see it. I don't see that much power. And they've been bigging him up on TV. I don't see that much power. I see, to me, he's a prospect, but he's not ready to be thrown in at world level. And I don't think, having watched him, that I wouldn't think he'd win the world title. He's fairly aggressive, and this will play into Matias's hands. So I think every Brit, in my opinion, on this bill, is going to get knocked out. Yeah. I think Anthony Yarde will get knocked out. Yeah. I think Dalton Smith will get knocked out. And I think that who's the other guy? Have I forgotten his name? I mean, he's unbeaten, but so what, man? Oh yeah, Sam Noakes. Sam Noakes again. Who's he beaten? Who's Sam Noakes beaten? It's like the battle of the unbeatens, but who's Sam Noakes beaten? Yeah, he's a puncher too. I like him. I'd like him to win again. But Abdullah Mason is like one of America's big prospects. They're both of them. All their wins have come by knockout except two. But I expect Abdullah Mason. When Americans big up their stars, they're usually right. Not always, but usually. Does anyone remember Francisco Bojaro? He was bigged up, didn't do anything. But generally, with American fighters, if they are being bigged up, they got the goods, at least to a certain extent. So I see nothing but 3 stoppages for the British guys, and I just can't. Obviously, I can understand it's a money thing. That's why they're throwing Sam Noakes in. Anthony Yarde's, he's a bit older, and he's actually fought in world class, albeit getting beaten. But Sam Noakes, Dalton Smith probably gets stopped. 8 rounds, let's say, something like that. Normally I would say, in the old days, I'd say, why are they throwing them in against these guys that are so dangerous? Well, the difference is the cash money. The cash money. Money talks, bullshit walks, or whatever Americans say. So, I don't really understand. I don't see anything special about Dalton Smith, and I believe he'll get stopped by Matias in round 6 to 8. Peace, everybody in the Middle East.